Sherry Medina, a United States Department of Agriculture inspector who has worked for the agency over 16 years, blew the whistle in 2012 to FIC in regards to health problems caused by overuse of chemicals in the poultry processing industry. Medina blew the whistle on Big AG, and from there her situation became a domino effect, not knowing that this burden would have Sherry, 50 years old, seeking early retirement due to disability. Medina was working at Tyson Chicken Plant located in Albertville, Alabama. Her job where she took protecting consumers extremely serious, though she later became unable to perform her duties when she started to experience debilitating symptoms in less than 1 month at the plant. These symptoms coming from Tyson and their use of hazardous chemicals in poultry facilities, which is not safe for workers and allows for companies to put the public's health at risk and cut corners. Medina's health problems included respiratory problems, infections in both skin and eye irritation. Co-workers too became ill. Persistent health problems at Tyson decreased her quality of life, giving her multiple hospital visits. Eventually, she developed asthma, suffered organ damage, and broke 2 ribs because of extreme coughing. Later, Tyson started to become under pressure from worker advocates and immense growing consumer awareness. They promised better working conditions for employees at their meat processing plants. Tyson was heavily criticized for lack of worker safeguards. Employees then were offered regularly scheduled bathroom breaks, given more attention to line speeds at plants, offered training on workers' rights, and safety councils that include employees. Due to false promises made to workers by Tyson, employees continued to suffer. Sickness in Medina's case resulted in many sick days and eventually to early retirement. She tried to have the plant or USDA help her, but they resisted, so she decided to start a movement of her own. Other employees, including Virgil Butler, can also relate to Sherry Medina's story about Tyson chicken plants.
I saw people bashing birds against the belt. I saw people stomping birds to death. I saw them bouncing them against the wall. I saw them throw them into a dumpster live where the DOAs go. They're supposed to everything be dead when it goes in there. I saw people pull chickens' legs off, throw them in the floor, let them lay there all night long. Saw people run over chickens with forklifts. I've seen chickens frozen to the belt. I've seen them frozen to the sides of cages. Just, if you can imagine it, and it's horrible, I've seen it happen. The killing machine sits underneath the line. It's run by hydraulics. It has a razor sharp blade about 4 inches across in diameter, about 4 inches in diameter, like that. And what it does is it's got these 2 bars that catch the chicken's head, and this blade cuts their throat. Well, if the chicken is not stunned right, then it sees the killing machine coming, and it can't avoid it. Even if it is stunned right, it can see it. Even when they're stunned, they're only immobilized muscularly. It's just their muscles that are immobilized. They're not insensible. They know what's going on. The whole point behind stunning them is to leave them alive so that their heart keeps pumping, even after their throat is cut.
What led you to quit working at the Tyson Brannis plant?
Because on the way home one night, me and Laura was driving along, and we were talking about the chicken plant, and I had taken her in and showed her what the hanging room looked like that night, and she was appalled. And I realized for the first time in my life that I was actually ashamed of the way I made my living.
I agree with Sherry Medina and many other Tyson employees that they should be offered healthy work environments and help if they have disabilities due to working at the plant. Sherry's story is very similar to Jose Navarro's in the sense that they both had a job as poultry inspectors for the USDA and became seriously ill because of working conditions. Jose worked at an upstate New York processing plant and 5 years later died due to his lungs bleeding out. His death raised many questions about health risks in poultry plants. Agriculture Department health inspectors have made statements that plants are turning to the chemicals to remove contaminants that escape notice as they process the line speeds due to growing consumer demand for chicken and turkey. In result of this, Sherry Medina has attempted to push the Tyson company and USDA to improve plant conditions, and to no avail. Medina then left in early 2011 with no choice on disability and applied for early retirement. She received no help from the plant nor the USDA As mentioned earlier, Sherry then took matters into her own hands by creating a petition demanding that Tyson protect worker health and safety by stopping its widespread chemical use. Medina's petition gained over 130,000 signatures, and her story has inspired others working in the USDA to come forward and disclose similar complaints to FIC. Her determination to fight for this cause continues to help others working in the industry who cannot speak out about their concerns due to fear of retaliation. Today, the meatpacking industry still has a culture of secrecy and lack of transparency, but the investigation and fight for justice continues. She, Medina, is very committed to bringing awareness and shedding light on this situation.